If someone ghosts you on Upwork, it really doesn't matter. I was on a coaching call with somebody recently, and I do a little bit of coaching through this channel, and if you want that, just book the link down below. But somebody was telling me, they get a lot of responses on Upwork, but a lot of the people actually ghost them after they approve or say, yep, let's start working together. The reality is people fixate on this a lot, and it doesn't actually matter. With Upwork, you're essentially playing a numbers game. You're trying to bid and reach out to as many people as possible while at the same time closing as many people as possible. And when you're bidding on work, a lot of the times, for example, for me, for my agency, I bid on about 100 jobs every single week. Out of those 100 jobs, I get about 22 people replying. Okay, so I get a 22% reply rate on the jobs that I bid. Of those 22%, I actually get about 15 calls. And of those 15 calls, I might close about 3 to 4 jobs. So the conversion rate isn't massive, but I'm reaching out to enough people to make up for it. And if somebody ghosts you, it's really just part of the process. You shouldn't really worry about it too much. What you should do though, is you should track every single person who replies to your bid. And I'm gonna show you exactly my lead tracker, but you should be tracking every single person who replies to your bids. And you take that link to that job, you put it somewhere that you track, and you follow up with that person, ideally 3 to 4 times. And then if they don't respond, you stop following up for like 3 to 6 months, and then you come back 3 to 6 months later and you follow up again. And you do that literally forever. That's how I manage my business. At the start of every single day, I look through the leads that have replied to me. I follow up with them. After 3 follow-ups, I stop following up with them, and then I put them in, I'll show you in a second, in a Asana board, and then I follow up with them 3 to 6 months later. And I track how many times I followed up with them as well. And this is how I both, maintain the engagement of the leads who responded to me, and I make sure I try and get them on a call quickly. By the way, your job when you're on Upwork is to get people on a call as quickly as possible. Don't ask them what their budget is. Don't try and have a chat in the chat box. Try and get them on a call as quickly as possible. And so my job really is to just track these people and maintain the follow-ups as much as possible. Let me show you my board really quickly though, and that'll kind of give you an explanation as to how I get such a high response rate, but also how I get such a decent close rate as well. Okay, this is my Upwork profile, and just to prove that I'm not lying about how many jobs we bid down, as you can see in the last 7 days, 91 jobs. There's a tool that I use to actually automatically bid on these things. There's a link to a video that shows you how to do that in the description. As you can see, 28 reviewed, got 11 interviews, in this case 0 hires. So my numbers were a little off, but if you extrapolate to 90 days, you can see we're getting a little closer to that. And keep in mind there are hires that happen off of Upwork as well. But let me show you what I mean when I talk about my follow-up sequence. So I go here. This is Asana, by the way, which allows me to track pretty much everybody that I do work with or responds. And so as you can see here, the moment somebody responds to a job posting, so I bid on a job, right? Here we go. So I've bid on this job, right? It's Mehmet Gansin, and I can't pronounce that last name, but basically I bid on it and they responded, right? The moment they respond, I take this link up here and I put it here, okay? I put it in this tracker. So I would just go, okay, Mehmet, and I follow up the next day. And I Command V, right? So now I have a link to their board. Really quickly, sorry to interrupt the video. I just wanted to tell you something really cool that we've started doing with Inbox. I've actually created a school community where I teach you anything and everything I know about email and SMS marketing, from really advanced campaign strategies to how to simply set up your Klaviyo account, all the way to building really, really cool automations for the back end of your e-commerce store. Whether you're a business owner trying to learn how to do email marketing or an email marketer trying to learn how to become a better email marketer, there is a link in the description to this school community where I teach you everything I know. Check it out, it's worthwhile. Book a call to have a chat with me to see if you're a right fit for the community, and if you are, I'd love to get you in there. Anyway, sorry for interrupting your video, let's get back to it. So now I have a link to their board. And so what I do is when I send that, I send this, and then in my tracker, I can see exactly, I have a follow-up, right? So I put them on my board, right? And then I have the due date for the next day. And I follow up 3 to 4 times until they reply. Okay, so I follow up, you can see here, I followed up once, I followed up again, and then they said, hi, I'm gonna go check out your loom, there, followed up again, and then they stopped contacting me. They told me to stop contacting them, right? So what I did is I put them in my tracker and I followed up 3 times, okay? Then when they tell me they're no longer interested, I complete the task, I drag it down there, okay? I'm gonna uncomplete that because that's not actually done. And then I put them here. And then at the start of every single day, I review the Upwork leads that I need to respond to. So you can see here I've got a bunch for Monday. I've actually responded to a bunch of people already today. So I had a bunch of tasks due today. Kevin was one of them. And I essentially followed up with them. So you can see if I click Kevin, for example, you can see here, I followed up again today, which is Friday the 16th, and I followed up. And then I put the next follow-up for Monday. So I follow up every single day for 3 to 4 days. Then when I'm done with my 3 to 4 follow-up sequence, I drag them, I hit complete, and I put them here. And then at the start of every single day as well, these are all the leads I've ever contacted, by the way, okay? So you just go through here, and then every single day, I follow up with these people again. But I work my way up through my old leads. So I contact 10 old leads every single day. So I go to the bottom of my board, and you can see I've already followed up with this guy once. So I don't need to follow up with these guys again. I just say, hey, it's been a while, checking in to see how everything's going on the email marketing front. Let's see if I can actually find a message here. I said, hi there, I just want to check in and see how everything's going on the email marketing front. And you can see my last message was January 15th, and my most recent one was August 11th. So I followed up pretty much like 8 months later in this case. I should be doing it more frequently. But then I keep going through, go through 10 people, and I send that follow-up, 10 people, and I just keep going through pretty much every single person I have in this board, and I follow up again, okay? Once I'm finished doing the follow-up 1, I go through this entire board and I followed up with everybody, I'll do it again. I'll go all the way back to the bottom here, and I'll do a second follow-up. I'll go follow-up 2, and I'm just trying to generate business from these old leads, right? Just try and restart it again, essentially, and restart that conversation to bring them back in the fold. That is why ghosting doesn't actually matter. I know it's kind of we're deviating from the thing, but like your conversion rate doesn't really affect, it's not really affected overall. You just need to keep following up with people. If they ghost you, just put them in a follow-up sequence like this. Yes, it's manual. Yes, it's tedious, but this is how I get so much business off of Upwork. I have my automation running, link to that in the description of the video. And then I also have a consistent process that I implement manually to follow up with people regularly. And when I have that system in place, the ghosting, it doesn't really matter. It just becomes part of it, but also people who do ghost me, we have an opportunity to re-engage them again. If this makes sense, awesome. If you have any questions, check them down below. If you want a little bit of training on like my systems and processes for actually getting a bunch of work on Upwork, book a call in the description to this video. Thanks.